Who knew that in the 19th century, Biloxi, Mississippi would get its name, and that being the seafood capital of the world, was something as small as a canning of seafood. Can you believe that something that small helped Biloxi get its name? The purpose of my speech today is to tell you how the canning of seafood and the Bohemian immigrants and the forefathers of canning helped put Biloxi on the map. The ideas of a few men made Biloxi the seafood capital of the world. They are said to be the forefathers of the canning industry. They are William Gordonflow, Lars Lopez, W. F. Elmer, and Captain James Maycock. The opening of the canning companies doubled the population for Biloxi. According to Lee Wang, author of Mississippi Now, in the 1880s, the population of Biloxi was 1,500 people. By the 1890s, the population of Biloxi was 3,000. The industry grew a lot in the population of the city, doubled for 10 years. The demand for workers and jobs is contributed to the canning companies. This is when the Bohemian immigrants were brought here from Baltimore by one of the forefathers, William Gordonflow. There were many responsible for the success of canning in Biloxi. Most of this success is contributed to the forefathers which I named before: Gordonflow, Lopez, Elmer, and Captain Maycock. What others have said, they are the first shippers of raw seafood. They were Gordonflow, Lopez, Elmer, and Captain Maycock. The invention of dry ice and the railroad also contributed to the success of the canning companies at this time. The dry ice helped the factories to be able to ship the canned seafood for greater distances to last longer. The railroad, that contributed to greater distances of the seafood that was canned to be shipped. The Bohemians were brought here by Mr. Gordonflow to man the factories, and in return they brought their families to help man the factories as well. Many times it has been stated that families, entire families, worked in the factories canning seafood. According to Deanna Stevens Newer, author of The Seafood Industry in Its Early History, 1848 to 1930, the Daily Herald reported the arrival of the first Bohemian immigrants. The Bohemian immigrants played a major role in the population growth in Biloxi. The conclusion: Biloxi became the seafood capital of the world because of the forefathers who were William Gordonflow, Lars Lopez, E. F. Elmer, and Captain James Maycock. The purpose of my speech was to explain how the canning of seafood brought immigrants to Biloxi and the men responsible for the canning companies, who were Gordon, Lopez, Elmer, and Maycock. Today I have explained how canning of seafood made Biloxi the seafood capital of the world and boosted Biloxi's population from the Bohemian immigrants. I also presented to you who the forefathers of the canning factories were. The canning of seafood put Biloxi on the map. This is to show you how the 19th century helped to make Biloxi make itself the seafood capital of the world.